What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video, we're going to be reviewing the Lindell Audio Lintec. This is their solid state Pultec style EQ, and this is following the Lin 76, their 1176 style compressor, and their Lin 2A, their LA2A style compressor. Will we see a Neve 1073 next? Maybe, probably. I'm willing to bet so. To see as they keep I would go say cloning these popular classic recording gear, but a little thing different with this one is that it is solid state. Most Pultecs you see are tube based, so this did raise my eyebrow when I saw that it was solid state. But we're going to be reviewing it and checking it out here. Of course, I have a link in the description if y'all want to check it out, learn more about it, or pick it up. And Lindell Audio did send this to me to review. So the way I'm going to do this review will be a little different if you follow the channel, just because if you do follow the channel, you know that I've moved and I still don't have everything set up like I had it in my previous spot, but I'm not able to play through the Lintec and record it back in and be on the microphone at the same time and all that. So what I've done is I've recorded some tracks through the Lintec and I've got jotted down my settings. I'm going to put those picture of how I have it set on the screen so y'all can see it when we play it. But we're going to check this out on some singing vocals, some rap vocals, and as well as some bass. You know, typical things that you'll use a Pultec style EQ on. But first, let's take a closer look. So normally I would switch to a live camera view when I do a closer look, but again, I'm not set up like I previously was. So we're just going to look at a picture and go through these controls and look at the front and back. So the first thing you may notice, or the first thing I noticed with this, is that it has a VU meter, which is, I've never seen a Pultec with a VU meter. Interesting choice to add, but definitely something that will be useful, especially when you want to make sure that you're not overloading the signal or see how much input gain that you've got coming in to the unit. So that's really helpful. Standard controls for Pultec going through the rest of it. You got your boost attenuation. We're all familiar with that if you're used to using a Pultec. I will say one thing, looking at the low frequency selections, this is where Pultecs really vary with their low frequency selections, the high frequency selections. I like where Lindell Audio has placed this because we have 150 hertz in the low frequency. Some Pultecs only go up to 100, which I just don't find to be as useful. I like a Pultec where I can get into that lower mid range and remove some mud if I need to. I can do that with 150 hertz with the Lintec. Looking at the high frequency, it's going to go up to 16K. You've got 3, 4, and 5K, which is also interesting frequencies for a Pultec. I forget where all of them are different when you really look at them. But definitely when I look at my Pultecs, I want to make sure they go up to at least 16K on the high end for sure. Some other things to note about this EQ, we've got, and now I'm blanking on the name, I think it's 1731 op amps in them, as well as custom transformers made for this unit. Let's take a look at the back. The back, we have TRS inputs for the input and output, which I've never been a fan of on any of these units, and I'll continue to say it here. I prefer XLR. Again, not because I think XLR is better than TRS. I just have more XLR available in my studio than TRS. You have your meter calibration, which I wish was on the front. It's always weird to me to see meter calibration on the front to have to try to calibrate the meter with something on the back when you need to see the front at the same time. And I really like that this has an output level. However, I do wish it was on the front, especially if you can use this output level to drive more signal into the output transformer. It'd be really nice to have control over this on the front. With it being on the back, I don't know who or if anyone would use it, and you probably wouldn't even know it's there, honestly. All right, let's get into some examples of this. All right, we're going to start with some vocals. I'm going to play this vocal without the Lintec on it. This is just the raw vocal.
I love it when you bring me in closer, pretending that nobody here knows us. Don't I feel like you and me just in a sea of motion, pulling when I push it back, you cushion that, come forward.
All right, not a bad sounding vocal. It is a little low mid heavy, so I want to look to remove some of that. So the settings I used here is attenuated at 3 with the low frequency at 150, boost at 6 at 10K, and attenuated at 8 at 20K. And let's take a listen.
I love it when you bring me in closer, pretending that nobody here knows us. Don't it feel like you and me just in a sea of motion? Pulling when I push it back, you cushion that, come forward.
All right, got a more balanced sounding vocal. I like that. I did another example where the settings I used, I boosted 1 at 150 hertz, the attenuation at 2. We boosted all the way up to 10 at 10K, or no, at 8K, and then attenuated all the way at 10 at 20K. So this is kind of a Pultec trick that I do. If you follow my channel, you've likely seen me do it before, where I boost it all the way in the high end at like 8 or 10K, and then I cut it all the way at 20K. So it makes this nice, I don't know exactly what curve it makes, but it makes for a nice high end that isn't too bright, that you would think would be really overwhelming if you boosted the high end all the way. But being able to cut at that 20K just helps smooth it out. Let's take a listen to that.
I love it when you bring me in closer, pretending that nobody here knows us. Don't it feel like you and me just in a sea of motion? Pulling when I push it back, you cushion that, come forward.
All right, that one sounds more in your face. I like the low end that we added with that boost at 1 there in the low frequency. And again, it doesn't sound too bright on the top end. And even in both of those examples, even though we're adding high end, you can hear that the S's aren't getting out of control, which is really nice. I'm going to play this now, and we're going to flip through them from this top track, this purple track, which is going to be without the Lintec. This second track is going to be the first settings I did, and the third track, of course, will be the settings that you last heard. And we'll flip to this to get the immediate difference.
I love it when you bring me in closer, pretending that nobody here knows us. Don't it feel like you and me just in a sea of motion? Pulling when I push it back, you cushion that, come forward.
All right, there's the Lintec on some female vocals. Let's check it out on some rap vocals now. All right, let's check out the Lintec on some rap vocals. We're going to start with just the raw vocal, no processing.
I've been the coach, y'all catching on late. Hey, world on my line, where you at? Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. Tell my enemies that I'm back. Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. World on my line, where you at? Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. Tell my enemies that I'm back. Cruising through the city, ayy.
Okay, so with this vocal, I definitely want to add some low end or some low mids to thicken it up and add some warmth to it. It sounds a little thin to me, and we can certainly do that with a Pultec style EQ. So the settings I have here, I've got the boost to 2 on a 150 hertz low frequency. I also have the attenuation set to 2. I've added a boost of 4 at 3K and no attenuation on the high end, and this is what we have now.
Hey, world on my line, where you at? Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. Tell my enemies that I'm back. Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. World on my line, where you at? Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. Tell my enemies that I'm back. Cruising through the city, ayy.
All right, so really liking that. That low end is making it sound more in your face and just making it sound fuller as well. I'm going to play it back now and let's flip between them to get the immediate difference. The top track, of course, is the one. Let's color this. Let's go green. All right, so yeah, this top track is going to be without processing, and then the track below it is with the Lintec.
I been the coach, y'all catching on late. Hey, world on my line, where you at? Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. Tell my enemies that I'm back. Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. World on my line, where you at? Cruising through the city with my sunroof back. Tell my enemies that I'm back. Cruising through the city, ayy.
All right, that was the Lintec on rap vocals, and lastly, let's check it out on some bass. All right, let's play this bass without any processing. All right, and now let's play it through the Lintec, which I have a boost of 6 at 100 hertz and attenuation of 3. All right, now let's play it and flip between the two. So the top track is no processing. Let's change the color on this. Let's go to red. All right, and when I switch down to the red track, that is with the Lintec. All right, so very pleased with the low end that we're able to add here with the Lintec. All right, final thoughts on this EQ. So this is placed at an interesting price point. It's $399, and other popular Pultec style EQs kind of in this price range. You got the Clark Technic one, which I think is like $200 right now, which is pretty crazy. You've got this one at $399, and then you've got the Warm Audio one at $799. Huge differences. Again, this one is solid state, meaning it is not using any tubes, where the Clark Technic one, I believe, is tube, and I know for sure the Warm Audio one is tube. So this one sits in between those at $399, and it's kind of where the rest of this Lindell audio stuff has been priced at, in that $399. I know the 76 is $399. I forget how much the 2A is. I think it's $599 maybe, but yeah, interesting price point that we have there at $399. I also want to point out, with this being solid state, let's also talk about some of the advantages to that. You are going to get faster transient response with this being solid state. Tubes do slow down transients. You're also going to get a lower noise floor as well with this being solid state. And you're also not going to have any tubes to replace in the future because you don't have any tubes in this unit. So there's definitely some advantages. And, you know, I did raise my eyebrow when I saw this was solid state, but this doesn't sound too far off from a tube-based Pultec style EQ to me. I was really kind of worried about the high end, but the high end sounds fine to me. Low end too. I mean, we heard what it did with that bass, and having a faster transient response being solid state. I really like this on low end, and really like what it's able to do in the high end as well. And y'all know how I feel about clones, but I am looking forward to seeing what Lindell Audio does next. I would, if I had to put money on it, I would say a 1073. You kind of, you've done almost everything else in that classic space. You've done LA2A, 1176, now a Pultec. It just seems natural that 1073 may possibly be coming. Other than that, I don't know, maybe take their shot at API style preamps. They definitely need a preamp to go with the rest of this. I guess we'll call it collection. This Lin collection. So we'll see what they do next. But yeah, definitely fan of this Lintec. Definitely comment and let me know what y'all think about this. Again, I'll have a link in the description if y'all want to check it out, learn more about it, or pick it up. All right, if you enjoyed this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. And if y'all want to continue to see content from me, then y'all know what to do.